Okay, well, I had to change out the sweater. I'm hoping that oh, that my initial sweater doesn't stain, because that's not something I can just buy again very easily. I'd be very upset. But anyway, grouse. It's like, I thought we heard that word before. I just couldn't for the life of me figure out where it came from. I don't remember what I said before I had that freak out about the thing. So, did they meet up on the ship then? And then that's when Jikoku went a little to Gregson? Or to Gregson? Must be on the ship. Because they made a stop at Paris. And then... So the club is a ship? No. That can't be right, because they said they came across witnesses. It's a place, right? But is it tied to this? So this is the only other thing that's mentioned the grouse, but like we're supposed to... Well, let me... I got the answer, and it only cost me my sweater in the hopes that it doesn't... I really don't want it to stain. But... What? Man, that was hard. All because I didn't think to check a steamship ticket. I guess it makes sense that we had it in our inventory still, but... I've read about these clubs that exist here in Britain. As I understand it, they're places where well-to-do gentlemen socialize with friends and colleagues. Don't imagine for a second that a foreign student like you would be admitted. Kazuma, you wouldn't be either, shiship? Seriously? Is your mirror cracked or something? Do we know for sure that the contraband dealings were definitely happening at a club called the Grouse? The police are currently looking for evidence, but haven't found anything definitive yet. And I'm sorry to say that they probably won't. What do you mean by that? I mean, that the place Inspector Gregson was secretly going to visit on 31st October may not have been a gentleman's club at all. You're showing a very irreverent attitude towards our country's police officer. Oh my god. I'm struggling. You're showing a very irreverent attitude towards our country's police force there, Counsel. If it wasn't a gentleman's club, then what was it? A steamship. You think it's a ship? I have the evidence to prove it. Here. Let me see that. This dark-suited young man is not in the least bit untrustworthy. The other side, my lord. Be more specific next time. Why would you think to read the backside of a thing? This would appear to be the ticket for a passage upon a steamship, yes. The SS Grouse. But I don't understand. If it's a ship, we would know that it's a ship, because how did they find witnesses that said that Van Zieks was there? In which he couldn't have been there? No? I think they said... Didn't Strongheart say that he was on a ship somewhere and he came back? Zieks? Like, before this all happened? But even then, they found witnesses, right? They would have had to know that they were looking for people that were on the Grouse, the ship, not a physical location, right? Where did they get the witnesses from? So there's a steamship named the Grouse that happens to share a name with the club. But I'm afraid to say, there's a flaw in their logic there. How? Yeah, what I just said. The witness thing, but I don't think that's what they're talking about. Look at the ticket. Notice the date of arrival in port. The ship arrived at the port of Dover on 1st November. The day on which that sounds like a gunshot was heard on Fresno Street. In other words, on the day in question here, 31st October, when the victim was on his clandestine mission. That ship hadn't yet docked on the British shores. I will certainly make an undercover investigation, somewhat challenging. The fact that the steamship hadn't yet reached Britain substantiates the defense's assertions the victim was investigating the SS Grouse on the day in question. Then show your evidence for that assertion. Very well. What? In that case, counsel for the defense, present your evidence to the court now. I was so put off by this stupid action. I said I wasn't going to bring it up. Evidence that substantiates your claim that the victim was investigating the SS grouse on 31st October. Blah, 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 blah. I can only assume it's this or this, but I think it's this. Hopefully. Or it's this. Passport for travel issued to the victim. Dated 31st October. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting that just one day before the inspector's body was discovered, there's a distinct possibility that he wasn't even in the country. Wouldn't Gina know that he wasn't in the country? I thought Gina was close with Gregson and that like she would know his whereabouts and stuff. She just took a sick day that day and she just wasn't aware. Order! Order! This document is for passage to France. It does appear to have been officially authorized. The day before the SS Grouse arrived at Dover, it docked on the northern coast of France for a night. According to my father, who was on board, at the port of Dunkirk. Dunkirk, France. What could possibly have taken the victim there? Kazuma, you've been strangely quiet and dotting. Wasn't he also? There's somewhere? You were also out of the country too, Kazuma. Ha 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 ha! What? I'm impressed, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Stop saying my full name, you weirdo! I certainly did expect you to get your hands on that passport. What? You mean you knew about this? Were you with him? Kazuma? The prosecution strategy for this trial has been laid down by the Crown Prosecution Office. On the day before the incident, the victim was investigating contraband dealings at the London club. That's the outcome of Scotland Yard's investigations and the line the prosecution has been asked to follow. But personally, I don't agree. I think the prosecutor's office is trying to hide something. Oh, you gonna say that while Strongheart's right there? What? And now that you've expertly disproved their assertion, I intend to reveal what I believe that something to be. What are you playing at, Prosecutor Osogi? The courtroom is a forum for the truth, my lord. Which is why it's my duty to present all the facts, without exception. Let me guess. This was your intention from the outset, wasn't it? The reason Inspector Gregson secretly made his way to the steamship docked in France on the day in question was to carry out a mission for the Reaper. The Reaper? In France? What's there in France? Order! Order! What on earth are you saying, counsel? The prosecution made an assertion in court yesterday. Inspector Gregson was investigating the identity of the Reaper. When he discovered the location of a man's secret hideout, he was killed. As I'm sure everyone can imagine. By the Reaper's hands. But in reality, the truth is the opposite of that. What? I have no idea what he's talking about. Inspector Gregson wasn't investigating the Reaper at all. He was in fact acting for the Reaper. So, you're saying the mission he was undertaking was, obviously, an assassination. For someone in France? Who's French? Why French? Barak Van Sieks never carried out any of the actual killings. Whenever the Reaper's victims lost their lives, he always had a cast iron alibi. Which tells us that he must have an accomplice. And you claim that wasn't Inspector Gregson. What the hell do you think you're saying, eh? My boss would have never done nothing like that. And yet, when you consider all the facts, it all makes perfect sense. No, it can't be. Who would be his victim in France? Who did Van Sieks go to court with? That was a French person. What was the last case we did here? The last case we did here was with the hairbrain. He in Germany, right? Am I crazy? Am I missing something? Who would he have killed? We also arrived at the same conclusion, didn't we? That Inspector Gregson was operating as the Reaper. Even so, there's no way that the person giving him his orders was Lord Van Sieks. No, the true Reaper is somebody else. Baron Van Zieks is not the Reaper. A predictable response from someone who's advocating for the man. And even if it's true that Gregson was operating as an agent for the Reaper, the suggestion that he went aboard the SS Grouse on an assassination mission doesn't follow at all. Oh? You have some solid reason for doubting the assertion, do you, Counsel? Absolutely. It's very simple. On the day in question, nobody was killed aboard that steamship. Gregson was, I imagine. Professor Mikotoba and Judge Jikoku were on that very ship. If someone had been assassinated, I'm certain we would have heard about it. Don't you poof me? What's so funny? You're right, of course. No suspicious deaths were reported on board the ship. But I think, perhaps you've missed the point. That's precisely why Inspector Gregson himself lost his life. What? Gregson did board the SS Grouse that night with the intention of dispatching his mark. But his mission ended in failure. Failure? It seems that the defense hasn't yet grasped a very important detail here. What are you talking about? What detail? I have no idea what's going on. Inspector Gina Lestrade. Eh? What? The victim's notebook that you read in an excerpt from earlier. That doesn't contain details of secret investigations at all. It describes 10 years of assassination plots to be carried out by the Reaper of the Bailey. You're lying! Even if all of them bludgers what got taken out and had it coming. The boss weren't the Reaper! Or Gina. There's no question that Tobias Gregson was heavily involved in the Reaper's activities. He may just be an apprentice, but if you spent any time at Scotland Yard, you must have heard rumors. I ain't heard nothing, and I don't believe a word of it! Then testify again, as a representative of Scotland Yard. Consider it your chance to defend your boss. I don't... I concur. The witness will give a new formal testimony. Miss Lestrade, you will tell the court everything you know about Inspector Gregson's secret notebook. Why can't we read it? Wouldn't that be easier? Yeah, this notebook does have a load of stuff about what the Reaper got up to in the past 10 years. Name of victims, dates, and places and stuff. And the last entry in there was 31st October. It said grouse for the place on that date, and then the name of the mark. There was a note about it being a criminal who got away from the Reaper in court 10 years ago or something. There was a note about him being a criminal, about it being a criminal who got away from the Reaper in court 10 years ago. 10 years ago, someone flew off to France. 10 years ago was obviously the Professor case. Professor case people involved were Genshin, Gregson, Herlock, Clint, Zed, Seishiro. Was he trying to get a hit on Jikoku? Surely not. But honest, the boss didn't do none of it. He was just investigating the Reaper, that's all. Oh, okay, no, I was about to say, like, how did he leave this notebook at his desk if he was on a ship? But he must have written it before he actually went on the ship and left it at his desk. Keep personal opinions out of your testimony, witness. We require only established facts here. This must be so hard for her. You can't deny it now, surely. Ryunosuke Naruhodo. What can't I deny? The notebook contained the name of the final mark, and the location where the assassination would take place. That's information that the victim could have only known if he was working with the Reaper. 10 years ago, the Reaper wasn't even a thing. Right? The Reaper showed up after the 10-year mark, I thought. So, who was it to be this final mark? Go ahead, Inspector Lestrade. Read the name for the court. The name that's written alongside the entry that mentions the grouse on 31st October. Eh? Oh, how do you read this then? It's a Japanese name. Reading's still not her strong suit. That ain't the problem, alright, Otto? It's a funny name. It ain't English. It's hard to read. So it's someone from overseas. Let me have a bash at it. It was him! Seishiro? Is it? Yeah, Seishiro? Q? Maybe? What? It can't be. Seishiro Jigoku? But that's just Jigoku!
Seishiro Jigoku. Certainly not an English name, you're right.
But that can't be right! I know Judge Jigoku, and I saw him yesterday, the day before yesterday. Here in London. So I know for a fact that that man hasn't been assassinated.
As I said, the Reaper failed.
Oh.
Gregson missed his chance to kill his mark and return to British shores. But the Reaper wouldn't tolerate the mistake, so he killed the inspector. Personally.
But why? If you missed your chance, you have another chance. Unless you got noticed, but if you got noticed, you would be arrested for it, right? That wouldn't make any sense, stupid.
Reaper, of course, being the accused.
Baruch Van Zeeks. Did Jigoku, like, kill Gregson as, like, self-defense? Or did he kill him because Gregson found out he was smuggling goods? Are we even still talking about smuggling goods? We might not even be talking about smuggling goods anymore. That might have been a front from the Scotland Yard. To cover up the fact that he might have been a Reaper. I don't know if the smuggling goods is even a thing anymore. I think I have to, like, take that out of my mind.
It's an undeniably logical argument.
Kazuma, you planned for the trial to go this way all along, didn't you?
Mata!
Zeeks? You're drinking! You, whoa! Zeeks! Motherfucker's drinking wine on the stand! Dude! Why aren't you in cuffs?
Pray forgive the discourtesy of filling my hollow chalice while I stand accused of murder.
You're so fucking cool and lame. Excuse me while you're talking about how I murdered somebody and I'm gonna drink this wine. Cha-ching! Stupid. Lord Van Zeeks!
The accused has no right to speak uninvited in court. You will return to the dock.
Nah, I didn't tell him what to do, man. Don't you want answers? I want answers. Let him stay.
I say nothing of whether or not I'm a Reaper. That's a task of this court to decide. But there is one thing I can say unequivocally. That girl is no detective.
Eh? What? No, that's right. I ain't. I'm an inspector.
Repeating rumors heard around the yard. Reading entries from a notebook of unconfirmed origins. That's not testimony. It's practically a script. No doubt the rest of this trial will go expectedly as you clearly planned. Your hatred of me is understandable.
Oh, what? Is this your bias?
In your mind, I'm sure I am the Reaper, who sent your father to the gallows all those years ago. But you're in danger of becoming a far more sinister Reaper yourself. By attempting to have me condemned for this feeble excuse of a testimony. What did you say?
Mr. Naruhodo, this is our chance. My lord, the defense requests that the defendant be allowed to speak. He may be privy to important information relating to the testimony just given by the witness. This is impractical. He's hitting like the pointy parts of the unicorn's mane on his hand. Ow! That's like taking like a what do you call those things? The thing that you can swing around that has like spikes on a ball. I don't remember what it's called, but it's like as if you're taking that and swinging it into your hands. Ow, you dumb! You look so cool about that. No, you don't. You look stupid. I wanna rip that thing out of his hand. I hate it.
Very well. I'll make an exception and grant a request. The defendant may remain in the witness stand for the cross-examination.
Also, why a unicorn?
then allow me to toast the court's impartiality. Don't raise your glass in my direction, sir. Counsel for the defense. Begin the cross-examination immediately.
What did I finish my thought? Why even the unicorn? Did we ever see a unicorn related to the Strongheart? There wasn't a unicorn in his office, right? Why the horse? I don't get it. So now we have... Oh, what? It's clear that, what's his name is on the side there because Gina's not in the center, but I thought we were gonna be able to do something with, Zeke's. Why is Zeke's here? Let's press everything. In other words, it shows that Gregson was basically acting as the Reaper. No, you know, that ain't the only explanation, is it? Hey. He could have been investigating the Reaper in secret, and that notebook said what he found.
If I may. When originally people began referring to me as the Reaper, I didn't object. I believe the power to intimidate London's criminal classes into compliance with the law to be beneficial. But you carried out your own investigations into the true identity of the Reaper, didn't you? Yes, and those investigations proved conclusively that Gregson was one arm of the Reaper.
One arm? What are you on about? He has two arms!
Keep betting that she's thinking that Reaper's victims were all extremely shrewd criminals at the top of their game. There's simply no way one person could have taken him on alone. The Reaper is an organization. With you at its head, oh my god, Cosmo, stop it. I had spies at the yards keeping me abreast at Gregson's movements, letting me know when he was elsewhere. So I'd been able to check the most recent entry in his books. I knew the location.
You know said grouse?
Believing it to be a reference to the Gentleman's Club, I went there on the day in question to investigate, alone.
Ah, so that explains why several members of the club claim to have seen you there. So it's a club and also a thing on the ship? Is that what I'm understanding? He wouldn't. Sorry, I accidentally skipped the text. But is that what I'm understanding? He wasn't on the ship. He couldn't have been. The ship didn't dock until the 1st of November, whatever the heck it was. That's so confusing. What even is a grouse? Of course the inspector was not there. Okay. Because at the time he was making his way to the steamship docked on the northern coast of France. As shown by the passport found in the victim's metal trunk. That was what my confusion was. I was like, how could there have been witnesses if this was on a boat? But it's not. There's two places. God. Dang. As shown by the passport found in the victim's metal trunk. Oh, I said that already. Very well then. Back to your testimony about the contents of this notebook. Fine. Is something wrong, Mr. Naruhodo? You seem a little shocked by something a moment ago.
Oh, no, it's alright. I'm overthinking this, aren't I?
What'd he say? I was so stressed about the whole, like, club and the steamship being named Grouse, I wasn't even paying attention. Investigate alone, that's what blah blah blah. Inspector was not there, because he was making his way to the steamship docked on the northern coast of France. As shown by the passport found in the victim's metal trunk. Oh, is he shocked at the fact that Cosmo knew that that passport was found in the trunk? Wait. Trunk? Is that called a trunk? Oh, it is called a trunk. Sorry. I was thinking back to the first day of the trial when, what's his name? Was it Vigil that mentioned something about seeing a trunk? And then I was all like, it was Jigoku's trunk. Was he also talking about Gregson's trunk? That shouldn't be called a trunk. That thing is so little. Whatever. So Cosmo knows that was found in the trunk, but considering that this was Gina was holding on to this until we got to it, he shouldn't have known about this, right? Because he was with him, right? Oh! Didn't I say something about this possibly being from Kazuma's sword? It's a blade, piece of a blade, right? Kazuma, what have you done? The victim stays in blood, blah blah blah. I'm thinking too far ahead. Names of victims, dates, places, and stuff. What in particular? Well, besides the victims' names, this other name kept cropping up. What other name was that? It's the one I told you yesterday. The same name written over and over again. What name? You mean Assassin? Yeah, that's the one. She's a friend of yours, Samba, isn't she?
Oh no.
Were you even listening yesterday?
Assassin. The assassin. Wow, crazy, huh?
What? Well, like, a killer, you mean? Assassin and assassin? Crazy!
Gregson was a tactician, the one who came up with the plan of attack. He investigated the marks thoroughly, finding out when they'd be vulnerable, and who to use to get at them. But the person actually executing his plans was someone else, you're saying. If that's true, then the Reaper does indeed start to sound like an organized group of vigilantes.
Then perhaps what is said on the passport document.
The one other person?
Permission for the applicant and one additional person to travel. Could the additional person have been?
Clearly the assassin, who was meant to take Seishiro Jigoku's life.
Gina, can you confirm that? Against the final entry that listed Grouse and Seishiro Jigoku, what name was written? Oh, well, that's the only entry that didn't have a name next to it as it happens. What? It just had like a question mark or something there, I think.
In other words, Gregson himself didn't know the identity of the assassin in that case. But Gregson was the one making the plans, was he not?
Oh, how infuriating! A nameless assassin. Surely Kazuma's not an assassin, right? Said Grouse was placed on that date and then the name was And you're saying that the mark listed was Seishiro Jigoku? That's what it said! Funny name if you ask me. Oh my god. And I thought your name was odd.
So pleased to have lost my crown there. Mr. Jigoku is the presiding judge of Japan's Supreme Court of Judicial, whatever. I remember the man. He came to our country as a visiting student 16 years ago. Studying international laws and diplomacy under your tutelage, Lord Strongheart. That bearded young fellow was a very able man, I must say. So Lord Strongheart was Judge Jigoku's mentor. If I'm not mistaken, he returned to Japan 10 years ago now.
10 years ago? After that fateful case?
Precisely. In the aftermath of the professor case, his repatriation, what the heck are all these words, was organized immediately. It's a mystery why such a man would be listed in an inspector's notebook.
I didn't think it was possible, but the mood in here has got even worse now. Maybe I'll just keep talking.
We're in a court of law. We deal with murder, Gina. There was a note about him being a criminal who got away from the Reaper and 10 years ago or something.
What do you mean a criminal? Judge Jigoku is no criminal. Well, don't ask me. I don't know nothing about him. Oh, do you remember what Father told us? That Judge Jigoku did once appear in court here in Britain. It was related to the professor case, I'm sure.
Yes, of course. You're right.
But wasn't it just the fact that he was like trying to like speak in favor of Genshin, and he was probably all like he didn't do it.
Seishiro was trying to mitigate Genshin's guilt, so he took the stand to testify. But he got a little carried away and actually managed to break the witness stand. He also said something contemptuous words about the British Empire, for which he was charged.
Ew. So it wasn't the part where he was like trying to protect his friend. It was the fact that he was saying some shit about the British Empire. Strongheart, did you have someone try to assassinate him? Wait a minute.
It was a pitiful situation, yes. I'd forgotten all about it, but I prosecuted that trial too as it happened.
You did? Oh, the trial for Shishiro. I was like, how'd you forget that you did it for the professor case?
It was considered to be an adjunct to the professor proceedings, you see. But he was acquitted after being told to make reparations for the damage caused to the stand.
Oh, he was acquitted because he paid for... He was acquitted because he paid to fix the stand. Well, to be fair, he also was like... he was charged because he said shit about the British Empire. That's all around, like all around that case with Seishiro was stupid and minor. And there you have it.
Have what? Surely the accused hasn't forgotten his own rule. That there's no saving anyone who faces the Reaper in court, guilty or innocent alike.
What? No! Are you suggesting that the reason Judge Jikoku was targeted for assassination?
The man was sent back to Japan immediately after the trial. The Reaper had no time to do his work. But then, 10 years later, the mark returns to Britain once more. Perhaps now you start to see just how vindictive the Reaper is.
Come on, that's absurd! To take someone's life for that?
Isn't the whole premise of the Reaper absurd? Killing those who have been found innocent? Clearly the rules by which the man operates are beyond a sane person's comprehension.
But... Right! I've had just about enough of this!
Gina? What's she getting mad for?
All this nonsense about the boss planning to kill people! It's cobblers! Come on, Hodo!
Yes?
Why ain't you saying nothing? Why ain't you yelling out objection or something?
What?
You've gotta find a flaw! You do usually! Someone's lying here, no question! You've gotta work out who it is! Please, for the boss. I mean, I can't do anything about it if your boss was being nefarious as hell. Are we to believe that he isn't? It's fine. I mean, I still think that Strongheart or Jigoku are the bad people here somehow, in some way, but like, what can I do?
That outburst was an insult to the court and to your own testimony. You're gonna die now. I might have known that a common pickpocket from the back slums couldn't make a detective.
Oh my god! Oh my god! You say such mean things while she's in her most vulnerable position.
When the trial is over, you will forfeit your warrant card, Mr. Straw.
Oh my god.
Is that clear?
Oh my god. I've had it with a lot of y'all! It's lies every bleeding place you look in the world in it! Well, I've had enough! Gina.
So have I. After that little speech of Gina's, I've made up my mind.
To do what, Mr. Naruhodo?
There was one point in this cross-examination when something that was said just didn't sit right with me. One statement that seemed odd.
Oh! Do you mean...
the metal trunk? I'm not gonna let Gina's plea for help fall on deaf ears.
Come on, Otto, help! You've got to find a flaw somewhere.
How do I do it? How do I bring it up? What am I supposed to do? I want to thank you, Gina. You helped me find my resolve.
This is the chapter. That's the chapter's name. The resolve of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. We did it. We beat the chapter.
What do you mean? Amongst everything we've heard during this cross-examination, there's one thing that defies explanation. One inconsistency. What? An inconsistency.
Really, Otto?
I don't quite know what it means yet, but... yes, there's an inconsistency in something that was said by... by you, Kazuma Asogi. Me. It's just some attempt at filibustering counsel. Prosecutor Asogi has given no testimony. What are you suggesting I said that was inconsistent? You let something slip that you shouldn't have. When I present a relevant piece of information, I imagine you'll realize what you've done. Very well then, counsel. Go ahead. What evidence reveals his alleged inconsistency and something Prosecutor Asogi has said.
Oh my god, what could this mean? Kazuma.
This is a trunk that belonged to Inspector Gregson. Metal construction, is it? Certainly very heavy.
Oh, I forgot there was blood on it.
What's this? A blood stain? And a relatively fresh one too. Is it?
What? You mean that ain't grease from all the boss's fish and chips?
Tina.
She's child.
Fresh blood on the inspector's trunk. I suggest that the victim was traveling with that luggage when he was killed. That can't be. There was no mention of any trunk in Scotland Yard's report.
Yes, there's a reason for that. Immediately after the inspector's body was discovered, one of the street peddlers made off with the trunk, hoping to sell it. But I found it! Me! With my nose for trouble!
Which means that nobody should have known anything about the trunk.
I'd forgotten that a peddler took it first.
Unless, of course, we're talking about somebody who was present when the victim was killed.
Kazuma, what secrets are you hiding? What have you done?
And yet, during the cross-examination of the witness just now, you said this, Kazuma.
He also went somewhere. I can't remember where he said he went to. Was it Paris? But he was talking to Strongheart at the time. Strongheart's the one, evil one. He's the one behind all of this, man. Because at the time, he was making his way to the steamship docked on the northern coast of France, as shown by the pastors found in the victim's metal trunk.
So the question is, how did you know about the inspector's trunk? We know the man went on a trip to France. Where else would he have put his passport?
But you knew it was in a metal trunk. Answer me honestly, Kazuma.
On 31st of October, where exactly were you? At the port of Dunkirk, on board the SS Gross. Is that the answer you're looking for, Ryunosuke?
Kazuma! What did you...
I hadn't considered the possibility before, but if Kazuma was there on the ship, then it could only have been for one purpose.
No, Mr. Naruhodo! Surely you don't think...
Come on, Ryunosuke. You know the rules.
So do I.
But the only thing that really talks in the courtroom is hard evidence. As I understand it, Inspector Gregson always took that case with him when he traveled. So as it stands, you've proven nothing. Kazuma, are you challenging me to prove it, beyond all reasonable doubt, that you were there on that day, in the same place as the inspector? He was there with Gregson. There's a clue that you've overlooked, a secret that Trunk can tell us. I can't be sure at this point. Point. I'll need to verify it. You know, like a blade point. But I have a nasty feeling that I'm going to be right. The accusation being made is deeply disturbing, but nevertheless, we must test it. The defense will identify for the court where in the trunk this alleged clue is to be found.
Where's the evidence that prosecutors blah blah blah? I'm like, kinda like holding back my emotions. I know that he can't be evil. Like, there must have been a reason for whatever happening. He must have, like, tried protecting somebody. Like, he tried protecting Jigoku. And that, in turn, killed Gregson or something like that. But Gregson was shot, right? Wait. Oh, I can't bring up my court record. But, like, I don't want to, like... They're making it seem like he's, like, the mastermind or the evil person or something like this. And I'm so stressed out because I don't want him to be like an evil person. I don't want this to be another... I was about to say the name of another game, but that would have been big spoilers. But I don't want that. I don't want it to be this. So I need to hurry up and find out what happened so that my heart can be settled. What do you say?
This is your proof. What do you say to that?
Oh wait, did I have to like... Oh shit. I jumped the gun. Shit. Shut up! I'm distraught! I'm upset! The text goes so slow! God, I didn't remember it going to slow. Is it just because I'm impatient? Oh, it's not a unicorn. Well, it is a unicorn because it has a horn on its head, but is that supposed to be... No. I was about to say it's a knight piece, like the chess piece. Because it has the rook on the side of it. Or like the whatever you call the squarey parts on top of the castle. I don't remember what you call it. Sorry. Oh god. I'm so worked up. Open this friggin' chest. Open this chest so that we can pick up the damn metal piece. I should have been able to do. I should have counted. You can see the metal piece when it's closed. The sun is in my face. Today was supposed to be a cloudy day, and the minute once I started recording, I saw the sun peeking, and I was like, why? I purposely chose today because I saw it was going to be cloudy and rainy. Kokodai! The small piece of metal lodged into the wall of the trunk here, like the tip of a blade. Eh? A blade? Kazuma, slung around your waist as ever today, is the esteemed blade Karuma. Of course it is. Won't you draw it, here in this courtroom, for all to see? Exercise caution, my learned friend. That man is the son of London's most notorious killer. Bailiff, watch Prosecutor Sogi like a hawk. That won't be necessary. Oh no! The tip is broken. If the fragment of metal from the trunk fits together with the end of that sword, the question of who was there with Inspector Gregson will be answered. Agreed, Kazuma Sogi? Expertly done, Ryunosuke. That's a point to you, and well deserved. Do you mean to tell the court, Prosecutor Sogi? Yes, on the 31st of October, I accompanied Inspector Gregson to Dunkirk in order to carry out a mission. So the additional person authorized to travel was me. And the mission was the assassination of the Mark. But what?